The truth is out there, but so are lies.
I thought this was really interesting, and it's just a little thing that I wanted to put in here. So this is Elon Musk posting Jack, who is the former poster boy of Twitter, CEO,
Hmm.
and this is thought it was interesting.
This is going to sound a little bit crazy, but I think the free speech debate is a complete distraction right now. I think the real debate should be about free will. And we feel it right now because we are being programmed. We're being programmed based on what we say we're interested in. And we are told through these discovery mechanisms what is interesting. And as we engage and interact with this content, the algorithm continues to build more and more of this bias. But the algorithm, even if it's open source, is effectively a black box. You cannot predict 100% of the time how it's going to work, what it's going to show you. And it can be moved and changed at any time. And because people become so dependent upon it, it's actually changing and impacting the agency we have, the free agency we have. And I think the only answer to this is not to work harder at open source in algorithms or making them more explainable about what they're doing and why they're doing it, but to give people choice. Give people choice of what algorithm they want to use from a party that they trust. Give people choice to build their own algorithm that they can plug in on top of these networks and see what they want, and they can shift them out as well. And give people choice to have really a marketplace around an algorithm that you can choose. This is
It's That's kind of scary. Like I've never thought about that. It's just like everywhere that I'm looking up or researching, it's just like I'm being fed what they want me to see. Not I don't have that liberty to choose an algorithm, and it's like I don't know. It's one of those weird things. I think like Amazon has one of the most sophisticated algorithms. Like it knows what you want to buy and to suggest, and it's kind of scary that I can't pick an algorithm I want to use. I've never thought about that, and it's scary.
So in our lifetime, we've seen this shift happen too, because I don't know if you remember Facebook back in the day, but Facebook back in the day used to be a timeline, and the timeline was literally a timeline. If someone posted a photo at 11 a.m. in their college class and it was 11:35 a.m., you knew that they just posted that, right?
Yeah.
And that has shifted so heavily. I do not go on Facebook. I still have a Facebook.
I don't even have a Facebook, so I don't even know what you're talking about, like how they updated it. I got rid of it years ago.
Yeah, I still have it. I don't know why. I think my sister's on it and like a couple other people. But I went on there recently just to see because I was like, oh yeah, I still have it. Oh, I go through Spot. I connect through Spotify through Facebook for some
Mm.
stupid reason. And boy, it was nothing but targeted ads. It was nothing. I could not make sense. Excuse me, of anything going on my timeline. My high school friends, people I grew up with, they still exist and are on Facebook and are posting. Because I clicked on one of my friends and I'm like, oh, I wonder how Heidi's doing. Started going through and I'm like, oh yeah, she's her kids are growing. They're like da 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 da. And but that's not what my feed was like. My feed was like, hey, you like Tool, you would like this band. It was like trying to sell me every fucking opportunity. I'm not even kidding. It was gross. It's like Twitter's pretty
Ads.
bad too with a lot of like the ads and the targeted stuff. Reddit is also getting worse, but Facebook was just a wall of ads and I couldn't see any of the content whatsoever. So, I think the reason I'm bringing this up is because this is the piece that I think Jack is missing in his assessment is the targeted ads portion of this is a much bigger threat than just the fact that the algorithmic process of curating content has gotten to the point where it is effectively just showing you stuff that you want to see. I guess I'm not thinking about this in a positive way. I'm thinking about this in a negative way. It's stuff that reaffirms things that you like. I guess is another way to think about it. But there's also this ad aspect where they're just injected in everywhere, and boy, it's like I've been looking up some stuff for my Jeep repair thing that I'm working on, right?
Mm-hmm.
And on Facebook, it was just like nothing but tool and Jeeps. And I'm like, those are two things that I searched in the last week. It's like,
So
I
you did
should,
it like on Google, and then it popped up on Facebook.
yeah, I did it on Google and it popped up on Facebook. I've been searching YouTube quite a bit just to watch some videos on, how to's, which, you know, YouTube is
Well, it's
also
like
bad at this
it's
point.
like it's like that one time that I kept on talking about Ozark, 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 Ozark. I don't know if I told you
Hmm.
this. And then
Oh,
my
yeah.
girl was getting advertisements on her phone, but it
Hmm.
was I was talking about it. It was
Well,
just it's just weird like that. And or you know what's been scaring me lately? And I
hmm,
don't know if this happens to you, right? It's I'll be thinking about something, like something I want, and I haven't even looked for it. I haven't even gone through the process of like typing it in Google or searching on my phone, and I'll randomly get an advertisement for it, and I'm like, that's scary. How did it know that? Like, how can it predict what I want? And that's what's scary about it. Yeah, I understand it's an algorithm that's telling you like, hey, you like this, you like this, you like this, those like this. There's a possibility you really want this, or you think you really want this, and that's what scares me.
yeah,
That it has that power.
it is scary. And that's the thing is they have a model of you. And by they, I mean Facebook and marketers who have purchased information about you that is publicly available and hopefully publicly available. Sometimes it's not. And they've built a psychological model and they understand things like, if you're going through a breakup, then you're more apt to buy, to have a consumer shopping spree, consumer therapy and all that kind of stuff.
I mean, I think a lot of us do that now. It's just window shopping is now browsing.
Right.
I don't know how often you go to Amazon just to search things, and it'll tell you like, hey, this is what you should. So it's like okay, it's a perfect example. I went to Amazon right now, and I've been thinking about buying a vacuum, but not. I've hasn't shared it with anybody, and my number one suggestion is a vacuum by Dyson. Not that I could afford it,
Hmm.
but it's kind of scary. And what other things are on
Well,
here?
here's
A
the thing. They're
printer.
watching they're watching the podcast and they're looking in the back right now and they're like, "Holy shit, he needs a vacuum."
He needs a vacuum. Go pick up the cat food that's on the floor behind us. But yeah, it's like not that I want a weed whacker, but I maybe
But you
I've wanted a
might.
weed whack. I might.
You
I
might you
might want to
might
go
need
clean
one,
out
right?
the roots. I've been
Yeah.
wanting a printer for a very long time, and my girl has dropped this randomly like years ago, right? Like nonstop. And we got to the point where like I'll just print it out, and it's suggested that I get a printer. It's just so weird that it would know these things.
Well,
Like
yeah, I
there's
mean, look,
another vacuum.
they're common household items, so I think that actually doesn't surprise me too much. They definitely do things like look at your purchasing patterns
History, yeah.
and then they're like, "Oh, well, if you bought a bunch of cleaner, he hasn't bought a vacuum or we don't know the status of his vacuums, so show him, a vacuum." So I think that I think those are actually okay in my opinion. It gets a little weird. But imagine when they start feeding this into like, and they probably already have, these large language models, the AI, as they call it in the fear mongering territory, and those AI are optimized to really just get you to buy anything, or they're optimized in ways that we don't have control over. Which this is going back to what Jack is talking about, right? Is that it's not necessarily evil that these things exist. It's not immoral. It's not wrong. It's the lack of free choice, right? The lack of leads to the lack of free will, right? The fact that you don't understand, it's not even that you don't understand what the choices are that it's presenting and how it's curating the stuff. It's that you don't have the opportunity to swap it out really for anything else. At least that's how I'm understanding what he's saying, right? And that's why, again, my point on this one is this is why I feel fits into the conspiracy category of things, even though it's not there's not like a group of people who are in a room conspiring against humanity, but it is conspiratorial in a lot of ways, the marketing side of things, because that's something we're never going to have access to. And I think that that's something that Jack is leaving off the table that is a massive influence on how all of these systems work, right? Is, you know, we're never going to have control. We might be able to swap out the what gets curated, you know, the feed information stuff, so that's like you're not getting dancing tweens anymore,
Yeah, definitely.
right? But the marketing side of things is they will never yield that control. The marketers will never yield that control.
No, they
And
can't. It's too much money to be either lost or gained from it.
yeah, well,
Imagine like if you, it's like I do not want any algorithm like at all. Like I just want basic surf. You know, it's like as you say, like it got bombarded. Facebook became something else. Instagram is the same way.
mhm.
It's become something else. It's like they first start off at something and then they evolve to something else because it's like when money's involved, it changes everything. Like money changes everything.